4 and will be among the top 20 teams in the world. Clash Champs are going to be defending first against Dark on Top by ETX Titans, who will be marching in with a hybrid army heavy on the miners, 18 of them, twice as many as the hogs that he's brought. Clearly wants to be burrowing underneath these walls to get against those non-defensive structures and make sure that those are cleanly swept through this base, as he starts off with the Queen Charge over on the right side to try to pierce through this opening he's created with the wall breakers and move against that monolith in the Town Hall early on, Carbon.
Yeah, as that Queen's going to charge her way through, you take a look at the right side. There are stats, and that will be updated. That was from the previous match. I will go ahead and clear those off and get those ready for this new match, because this is the very first attack here of this match between ETX Titans and the Clash Champs, as the Queen is clearing this monolith slowly after getting through these skeletons. But Woody, I think this is the first time that we're actually seeing a hybrid attack here today.
Yeah, the first I've seen today, and I'm excited to see how it shapes up. Got to be very careful with these spells, and I'm happy to see that Dark on Top has brought a couple of heal spells. Maybe the best use of heal spell is to drop right on top of some big splash damage for a big, heavy ground-based army like the hogs and miners that you see here. There's also a little bit of a bonus as well for those healers to be able to potentially pivot off if the Queen dies and try to help those miners and hogs out. Fortunately, it looks like Dark on Top will be able to keep her just barely alive this time with an Invis and a Rage to try to top her back off, but that is a lot of firepower being stacked onto not just the Queen, but the healers as well, with Seeking Air Mines taking a couple of them down, and now the big bulk of that Hog Rider army getting a little bit off track with the Tesla trap springing up, as well as spring traps to just eject them off a field. It is going to be a difficult finish for Dark on Top as his army is dwindling away now, Carbon.
Slowly but surely continuing to push in. The World Champ's ability does go off, takes out the backside multi. There's a bunch of miners that actually are continuing their way through. Skeletons, but the Eagle Artillery is going to be raining down on this Royal Champion. She's trying to hang on. Down as she goes, but is he going to hang on with just these few miners left and that Warden? It looks like maybe it's just only the Diggy now.
Not enough. Lots of splash still in the back end. That bomb tower, wizard tower, 2 mortars, and the Eagle Artillery. Not a whole lot to be super worried about if you've got speed and big firepower, but Dark on Top just ran out of gas in the tank as he tried to power his way through to the final edge of this base. A 2-star, 90% now is a fine finish for the first attack. Dark on Top starts this foray off with not a really very strong or a very weak hit. It's really going to be up to the foes now, the Clash Champs, to show us what they've got and to try to surpass this bar set by the Titans.
Yeah, with a 95% hit rate, unfortunately, does fall short with the 90%. But what will now Clash Champs do? From the previous war, ETX Titans put up 14 stars. That means that they would have to triple the rest of Clash Champs' bases to be equivalent to that. But in order to advance against a team like Clash Champs, you're pretty much going to have to put up 14 or even 13 stars, as P. Castro looks to be coming in with a Queen Charge Super Barbarian attack. I just know P. Castro loves to bring attacks of Skelly Donuts. He's not doing that here. He's deciding to go with a boulder bounce to help funnel for this Queen as she's going to step closer towards that Eagle Artillery.
Moving on in, and we'll be able to take it out without even getting it activated. Gets a nice little coconut loon in there as well. Only a few shots from the Archer Tower. Ooh, and nice luck there for P. Castro. Does catch a Seeking Air Mine in that topside compartment. You know, this is one of the best tips that we can provide for early players who are just getting their teeth wet in the competitive scene. Use a balloon out in front of your healers to try to protect them from any Seeking Air Mines. In fact, P. Castro is going to send in a second balloon just in case there were multiple traps in that top compartment to try to bait out a Queen Charge. That is not what he would want to have to face off against early on, and so the second balloon floats on through, and it catches another one! The prediction power from this man cannot be topped! P. Castro has now saved 2 healers by floating in balloons to keep them safe under pressure, Carbon.
absolutely incredible value to keep those healers alive. Will this queen be able to continue her charge? Notice there's a defensive rage by both the multi-target infernos where the enemy queen is waiting. But he's taking a lot of time now with that warden, a part of this king. You typically will pair that warden ability when you pop this king ability to get everything protected, as he decides to send in the royal champion to help provide this assistance, as there is now the warden eternal tome.
Couple more balloons kind of along the edge now. Don't catch any more seeking air mines at this point. He's gonna have to refocus over onto the bottom side of this attack, where his super barbarians are going to be starting to kind of coalesce and collapse around these edges, doing their best to chop apart defenses before they get much of a chance to fire away. Royal Champion a bit distracted on the enemy Grand Warden and finds a Tesla that she's got to go deal with before she can get back into the center and deal with that multi-target Inferno, but it will go down. Raged up Scattershot and a multi-Inferno over on the right side are going to be the next targets for the Archer Queen as she pops them down without any problem at all. P. Castro has got a clean landing set up for him with 43 seconds and plenty of firepower to finish it all off. Just dump it on in there and claim your 3-star.
Brilliant job, Pikachu, getting it done with a freeze and invis left in the bag. Pikachu delivering a 3-star for Clash Champs. A brilliant charge, getting that queen through the Eagle Artillery, setting a gorgeous funnel on the left side with the bowler to push the queen through, continuing a charge, and the openings in the wall just allow the Super Barbarians to run their way around.
That is exactly what we'd want to see if we were fans of Clash Champs, and happy to get that confident finish, not even really coming close in the end, with 2 swag spells to dump out there and 30 seconds still on the clock. That was a convincing win to give the Clash Champs a 1-star lead in the beginning here. But that is not going to be enough to clinch victory against a tough team like the Titans. It's going to be Alcodir moving in next to choose his opponent. 4 more bases left for the Clash Champs to select from, and as the pickings get slimmer, the attack strategies have to get even more and more specialized to try to take down a base that maybe none of his other teammates really had much of an inclination to try to select. We'll see which one he does go with here. It's going to be Seleneho's base. Now has got a lot of Yetis and 5 Super Wizards. What are we looking at here, Carbon?
Bat spells as well. This is going to be a saying, all right, let's send everything from the opposite side of this town hall. And indeed, we've got the Yetis, we've got the Super Wizards, and get ready for a log launcher to pair it all together and be a bat wave to move in towards the backside as the log launcher is going to look to open these walls. A bunch of ground skeletons popping up to try and defend the space with the rage spell, raging everything on the defensive side here as he's still hanging on the Warden Eternal Tome, still trying to move his way through with an Ice Golem getting frozen, yet he's getting launched, pops the Warden ability now.
Excellent start for Kadir so far, but this is definitely a bit more of an unorthodox approach. Log launcher rolling straight into the town hall is good news for him, and he's got a beautiful alleyway just set up for the queen to just prance her way straight to that star. But will she have enough pushing to get through this big cushion from the CC popping out a Lava Hound now to slow up and gum up this attack? She is going to go down, and the pups will be able to refocus now onto the Royal Champion, tossing her shield out for more damage against that town hall, but it is activated and burning her to a crisp. Al-Qadir has lost all hope and just needs to use these bats now to try to salvage the 2-star.
Wow, I'm just wondering, he didn't have an Electro Titan inside of his log launcher. If he had Electro Titan, it would have been able to clear the Lava Hound and the pups when it popped, but he was thinking maybe Super Wizards would have been enough to be able to then just help that queen, so no poison was needed.
No way!
And a 1-star just like that can determine a match. A 1-star against Clash Champs almost essentially locks up your fate. 1-star, 69%. Oh, that is not good for ETX Titans.
Superb defense from Seleneho. The Clash Champs have not just come out swinging with a 3-star, but just kept their opponents down to a single star in the second strike. That puts them at an even playing field in terms of total stars earned. And I don't even know what to say at this point, because we're going to get a follow-up now where the Clash Champs could potentially have a 3-star advantage out of just the first 2 attacks. Pato is going to be the next to move in on offense for the Clash Champs and prove that there are no brakes on this crazy train. He is going to be chugging along all the way to the station with those big old guns ready to fire on all cylinders. Here we go with a Laloon army. You know, I heard Maxi talking about Laloon earlier. It's a very difficult attack composition to prepare against because there's no way to know exactly how a skilled attacker may choose to use it against your base. Shikari King on defense does have a good spread on these air defenses, and that is often what is going to be what the attacker has to focus on early on to make sure that the pathing is properly cleared for those Lava Hounds as you get those balloons set up for later on. The fact that he's brought 3 Lava Hounds, though, has given me an indication that he might be just using 1 for each of the remaining 3 air defenses as he tries to power through the core of this base and kind of create like a reversed C shape for his balloons to path along. But Carbon, it looks like he's going to be moving in along the top side next with the Royal Champion and could be adding a Laloon with it very soon.
But one thing that didn't go down was that core multi-target Inferno. He would love to have it go down with the log launcher. That's one of the purposes of the log skipping through to take that multi down, because the Lalo must now path into the core, which typically a bunch of red air bombs tend to now be near the town hall. So if you pop that warning bell, there might not be too many traps by that multi-target Inferno, which is the only hope that he could potentially have. But he's now forced to go with a freeze over this multi and the defensive reach. He freezes up again, freezes another time over this town hall. His Outrageous warning ability can protect these balloons, easily takes that town hall down with ease. As now the defensive Lava Hound moves over to the Queen. He's dropping poison to help clear that as the Lava continues to path around.
Sends in an aggressive drop for the final Lava Hound on the bottom corner with the pups popping out and engaging the enemy Royal Champion. The Blues path over and finish off those 2 key defensive structures. But as you mentioned, Carbon, it's going to be that last multi-inferno in the center that he's going to have to deal with, and he didn't even use the freeze on it. I'm not sure how he's planning on taking it out, but it is going to be a difficult run to the very end for Pato as he now has passed the 88% mark, looking for 90% with these last couple of heroes joined in by some archers and pups to try to finish off this final destructive force in the center of the base.
With ground skeletons popping up here, the Warden's going to try to help these headhunters, but that multi-target Inferno was supposed to go down to the logs of the log launcher. Unfortunately, was not able to. The log launcher lost its health by getting hit by some defenses, and that value just was not achieved. As Pato's going to be still a fail. 90+% is where you want to fail if you do. You want to be getting the 3 stars for sure, but if you're getting the 2 stars, it's got to be in the 90s, even close to a high 90s when it comes down to it. But knowing that your opponent got a 1 star is definitely takes a load off your shoulders, and you can just take a deep breath because it's going to require them to really triple out to have a chance in this match.
Not quite as strong of a start as we had just seen from Bad Zinger, but nonetheless, Clash Champs with a 2-star lead in the early war are going to have a big fist on the table to be pounding away at the Titans for the rest of this match. It's going to be 3 more attacks for the Titans to have to try to come back and make up this differential now. If they get 3 back-to-back triples and are able to keep the Clash Champs at just 2 stars each, that will be enough to somehow be able to get a lead on stars. But that is a very tall order to ask of them at this point. Shikari King from the Titans will be moving in with another Laloon assault, but he's going to spice it up a little bit. Brought an Electro Titan of his own, true to the name. He's got 2 lightning spells, so I'm curious to see where he chooses to drop those. You can't really get a whole lot of value against a sweeper. He goes against the top one. The bottom one still standing means that he's going to have to be very careful and thread the needle with that battle blimp as well as with the hounds to make sure that the balloons are not going to be pushed back and slowed down by this entry point.
Yeah, with a Warden coming in, the objective is to protect the blimp all the way to the town hall. But he's also able to potentially take out the monolith with these early set of balloons as he finds a tornado trap, spinning his super archers around, double clone. So now he can reach over, skip through the town hall, but a giant bomb is there, hitting the super archers. Is there enough? Okay, yes, there's plenty of super archers still left up in the core, and they're skipping through the town hall, not able to get that one multi-target inferno to left. And oh, wait, what? He's able to then have the super archer skip through the eagle, take out the monolith, and then take out the eagle as well.
Nice shot right into the core of the base, and only a minute in, Shikari King has still got a lot left to deploy for this attack, but that was the big bulk of his force to start things off. Nice funnel setup so far for him. He knew he was going to have some more buildings on the interior side of this base. That little Tesla pop up is going to be a little bit of a surprise for him, but probably not too much for him to have to deal with. Although he doesn't have any healers to support the Archer Queen, so it's just going to be that Unicorn going down early, which is going to be a bit of sadness for him. Pathing along the exterior of the base now and trying to sync up with the Barbarian King along the top side, who's been chopping away at some more air defenses to try to provide additional cover now for those balloons, which will be marching in very shortly. Wizard Tower, of all things, though, is going to get the snipe against the enemy Archer Queen. That's going to force out another balloon to be spent by Shikari King, but he's only got a dozen left. Every single one of them must be deployed perfectly for maximum value. That multi-target Inferno is going to be awfully scary, as well as an entire clump of troops still defending upon the bottom. That Grand Warden and Archer Queen supported by a scatter shot and air defense. There's a lot of base left, Carbon.
There is. With a defending Queen, here comes the Ice Hound. I'm trying to just surgically deploy these balloons around, picking off air targeting buildings, while the Royal Champion makes her way into the scout shot. Headhunters sneak in to help pick off the enemy Queen, and just look as the RC still has their ability, but watch out, we have a defensive rage on the backside with an air expo and a defensive King waiting to take that Royal Champion down.
Oh man, just stabbing all the way through. 19 seconds left and still hasn't yet used the Royal Champion ability. Tosses it off in the last few defenses that are out there. 13 seconds to try to clean up everything. Minis along the bottom are going to get that side. Balloons flown to the top over to the Expo. He's got the Phoenix. He's got the Royal Champion. Stabbing on through. The Dark Elixir Storage is the last standing, and it cannot be taken out in time. Shikari King left with a 2-star. 99%, and the last hopes of the Titans have just started to evaporate, as they would need so much defense now against their foes in order to try to pull a win back out, Carbon.
That hurts so much. After getting a 1-star in the first set of attacks, you have to then start to deliver for the rest of them, and unfortunately not able to do that. And they are currently down with a score of 5-5, with Clash Champs using 1 less attack than what ETX Titans have done. So with a 3-star, they have a 3-star lead, which could be huge, as Leo is coming in with a skeleton bat donut, which is looking to at least remove a clan castle. And is he going to go for the monolith or the multi-target inferno? I mean, I try to do these things, it never works. I always fail. But he's going to go for the clan castle, the multi, and the ground expo.
Interesting setup here with a Golem to be blocking out in front. You typically would want to see healers supporting the heroes along the backside, or maybe just an Ice Golem if you needed a soft entry. Golem is kind of a hard mix in between the super heavy entry with healers and kind of that softer approach with an Ice Golem. So he must have a pretty deep spot that he's going to be targeting with that Golem to block out in front for likely his heroes. Yep, along the top side here. Has found quite a few little point defenses to be able to pick off along the edges and find a funnel to get a little bit deeper in here, but is not bringing any wall breakers to support this entry point. And so must just figure that the Queen's going to be able to reach over these walls to
Oh my.
That's going to be it.
That king is getting surrounded by skeletons as he forces his ability with the freeze now to allow him to continue to get to the scatter shot. But this queen can walk around and get access, take out the multi, take out the defensive rage, and the eagle artillery. The value from this queen is immense right now.
Gets the shot against the enemy eagle. Very nice lock here. Pops the ability as well, and even with the mortar firing away, it's not going to be anything too much for her to shut down. Cracks through the wall and will get even more shots off, like you mentioned there, Carbon. Very, very high value queen. My queen, I would do anything for you. Leo has got exactly the entry point he wants for these Laloon pushes along the right side now. With 6 more balloons he's hanging on to, he's going to keep a few in the pocket now to follow up later. Even brought his invisibility spell. If he had wanted to use that on the queen, I wouldn't disagree with him on that at all. Could have popped down the enemy queen and that scatter shot, but he's got plenty of firepower after all, with the royal champion powering her way through, and with plenty of cover with those balloons blocking that monolith for her. I think that this is going to be another easy 3-star for the Clash Champs. Well, they make it look easy anyways, don't they?
They do. Look at what Leo has done with a swag invis and having a few back-end balloons to come clear the top side. He just makes it look so easy when you're able to remove all that value in the core with just spells. Yes, spells taking out Clan Castle, Inferno, Expos, things like that. Leo of Clash Champs delivering another 3-star for them.
Supremely impressive finish here, and they are not leaving anything to chance. It's not going down to the wire. These are just crushing victories for the Clash Champs, with a total now of 8 stars out of their first 3 attacks and some excellent defenses as well. Clash Champs are really shaping up to be right there alongside teams like Bad Zinger to contend for a golden ticket as the weeks play out. With 1 win here, they will be guaranteed to move on to stage 4 and will be in the money. But it's up to the Titans to try to put up one last stopping defense against them. They've got 2 more rounds to go through now, as Rand will be putting up the next attack, choosing either between Loop or P. Castro's base to move in against. But mathematically, Carbon, it is pretty much over at this point, with the Clash Champs having a very strong lead.
Well, Woody, you never know. Anything can happen in Clash Esports. It's very unlikely. The odds probably 0.0001%.
Okay,
you know,
I'll agree with that.
But it's there, right? You never know. Anything can happen. But let's see what Rand can do with a Queen Charge hybrid. We still want to see these attacks because they're still, you know, it's all about momentum. If you get a 3-star here, you could then use that as momentum. Like, okay, I tripled my last attack.
To be tied?
Well, not
you
tied.
Use that momentum to be tied.
No, that you use that momentum in your next war, right? So you triple here. You're like, okay, I tripled. I could do it again, and I feel confident. So that's where it comes down to, because both these teams are 2-0. If you lose this match, you're only 2-1. That's not a bad situation to be in.
Not bad by any means. I still will give them a good solid chance at moving on. But as far as casting this war, I gotta say the Titans are in a very tricky spot. Hercules is just chaining them up back down in the depths of the earth yet again. And Rand moving now in along the top corner of the space with his queen to try to charge through. He's getting a little bit of awkward pathing here. It looks like he drops that invisibility spell to force her in to engage that town hall. We'll be able to pop that down and set up for this hybrid army next. Miners and Hog Riders are going to get a couple of heal spells to keep them safe through the back end of the base. Keep your eye on that Rage Tower right in the center of 2 multi-infernos and a monolith and an eagle.
He's fighting so many red air bombs here. His healers are about to be toast as this queen walks a little bit further in, seeking airbuds. Ragaloot's Lava Hound, which means the World Champion is going to get distracted on this Hound as that hybrid is cutting across, trying to make its way into the core, as Hogs and Miners do kind of split off in a couple different directions as the King's ability goes up with a defensive rage through the bottom side.
And that Rage Tower has also got a Tesla farm protecting it. That is a very juicy core for Rand to try to take a bite out of right now. We have got Hogs streaming on through and trying to get maximum value from their heal spell to keep them topped off through so much damage. I think it might actually just work. Rand's taking another big blow with a giant bomb exploding in his face, but he's made it through that really super tough compartment. And with a minute left and still has the Royal Champion shield left to toss, this might be the first 3-star for the Titans.
This is what I'm talking about, momentum. You know, once you start to talk about it, things can start to deliver, and Rand gets it done for ETX Titans. If they don't win this war, he could be like, I tripled, and that can help immense when it comes to your future wars. You just win one more, and you still will advance to next weekend. Congrats to Rand getting the 3-star with the Queen Charge Hybrid. Yes, their odds of winning this war is still not great, but they're going to still try to put up 3 stars and hope for something crazy against Clash Champs.
It's just you needed attacks like that earlier on in the war. You needed to be able to follow through with that consistency that we've been talking about. If you want to be clearing through the top and being one of, I mean, there's only going to be 4 teams that move on undefeated through this stage. That is going to be such an impressive thing to claim, especially if you were also undefeated in stage 2. That'll be a very difficult thing to be going up against next week, as Loop now from the Clash Champs will be presenting his last attack of this stage, as we would definitely expect, as things are going right now, Clash Champs to take the victory. It's going to be that Archer Queen in the bottom section now, healed up to get a little bit of a funnel established for Loop, as he gets quite a bit of value in this bottom compartment, finding the enemy Royal Champion as well as a scatter shot to be able to take down before he gets set up for a little bit of a lighter Law Loon. This is exactly what we've seen before from the Clash Champs, though. They do prefer to get these deep assaults with a Queen deep inside the base to take down those big splash damage structures. So this is just by the book so far for Loop, not catching very many surprises or anything that could give him a major problem, Carbon.
And notice he dropped the Apprentice Warden with this Queen right away to help assist this Queen get through this area even faster, because it's going to provide the damage wherever the Queen's attacking, but also it's going to provide the HP buff to help assist the Queen in the charge. So this Queen's pushing her way through, but no, take a notice at the time. With about 1:45 now left in the attack, you have to start to think about Lalo. So when you're doing a Lalo at home, that's typically the time I recommend to start. When you see a 1:45, start the Lalo. But these pros, they're so good that they can get away with starting the Lalo at around 60 seconds because they're so efficient at moving the balloons across the base.
And that's just one of those advantages that you mentioned there. Instead of choosing an Ice Golem to pair with the Queen, Ice Golem can work really well against shutting down a big, heavy, high DPS core of the base. But if you just need consistent throughput to be added on top of her, that Apprentice Warden is a great new addition to the game that can provide some additional tech options here for really highly skilled players like Loop to take advantage of. Queen is still chugging alongside the bottom, but he is not going to be able to focus on her, as the top side attack has now begun, with Loons getting slowed down quite a bit as they try to make their way all the way to the center. The first and second star have been claimed, but he loses the Queen now, and it's going to hope that those healers will be able to pivot off onto the King and provide a little bit additional support. Oh, looks like they're splitting. A couple are going to go help the Royal Champion down onto the bottom, who finishes off that multi-target Inferno, but still has to deal with that Monolith. Nice placement there with the Skeleton spell to try to finish that off and provide some cover for her. But with the Expo picking them away, I don't think that that Monolith is going to go down, and this is just going to be a really tricky, big core section of the base to have to try to finish off.
He does use the phrase on the Monolith here. The King is the only hope of trying to clear that bottom right compartment. He does have 2 balloons, but the problem is time.
Okay.
He doesn't have enough to go back to the clan castle because of the defenses, which pulls the Royal Champion to the right side. The clan, oh no, there's red air bombs for the minions, but he didn't have the time as well. It was too much health anyways, and a defensive King still up. So ETX Titans do have a defense here. And they're going to look to get a 3-star. Try to answer. They are down by 2 stars with the same amount of attacks used. So even if they get a triple, would put them to 11. All Clash Champs have to do is get a 2-star, no matter what, for a victory.
Beautiful base building there by Sikander. Excellent job holding Loop at bay. Even with that Apprentice Warden pick, getting a little bit more DPS stacked onto the bottom side. We were talking, I mean, you were mentioning how difficult it is to wait a minute and a half before you get the initial deploy of your main army, and how close that winds up cutting it toward the end stage of that attack. Had plenty of firepower, but just ran out of time. Such a difficult call to make in the heat of the battle here, and we'll see if Sikander's defenses can stack up the same as his offense now, as he's going to be attacking with a bit of a different army here. We've got mostly super barbarians, but has brought one of those Electro Titans, maybe to try to clear out the CC or any potential skeleton traps that could be popping up. But also did bring that Apprentice Warden in. It's going to be moving in hot within a blimp early on. 2 clone spells ready to drop on whatever he's got souped up and ready to be raged inside of there. It's the super archers, of course. And with some good luck, might even be able to chain some damage onto not just the Town Hall going down, but also onto that multi-target Inferno. Could potentially get shots against the Monolith. There's a lot of great targets in here, Carbon.
Yeah, the Monolith's going down. Royal Champion's gone as well. Now you don't have to worry about the Town Hall explosion, as there's all these openings around the wall to allow his Super Barbarians to continue their way through, as the Warden is now down with the Queen. Electro Titan can help make its push through, as we have Super Barbarians coming to the top side. Ice Golem is down, as he's got to move his way all the way around this space, as the King is still being a way to deploy, but he has the one Apprentice Warden, which you typically don't want to place near your own Warden, because then you just won't get that buff. It doesn't stack on top of each other, so might as well send it to where maybe the Royal Champion decides to go.
Eagle artillery shots are going to be firing down on this army the entire time, and that is just going to be a lot for him to have to power through against, especially now with the raged up scatter shots on the top side, just getting lots of shots in. But these are splash damage structures that aren't necessarily built to counter what Sikander's throwing at him just yet. With a Grand Warden Eternal Tome popping off, he'll get a little bit more breathing room as he tries to make his way through the top corner of the space and onto a really difficult right side corner as well, with a multi-target Inferno and that enemy Archer Queen ready to pop off. He has held on to a couple of hero abilities now, with the Queen unprotected but still holding on to her ability, and with the Royal Champion yet to get into the action. Just a minute left and lots of cleanup left to do. I think that there's too much base left for him to get the triple, but he will be toward a very high percentage 2-star, Carbon.
And he sent the Royal Champion down to the bottom side. I'm kind of curious here, because the defensive King was down there. Didn't send the Royal Champ into that Eagle artillery, because the Queen had no chance of even reaching it. Yeah, you could drop a minion in there, but it will take way longer for the minion to ever take that down, unfortunately, as the Royal Champion is not able to clear too much, as it is going to be a 2-star. So all Clash Champs have to get is just the 1-star for a victory in this match.
The last little Winion right next to the Eagle artillery, a little bit too close for it to be able to fire back, but I don't even know if spitting Dark Elixir at that thing is green enough to finish it off in the 7 seconds we have left. But Sikander will allow the valiant effort to continue, as that will be the last troop standing for his army. Can we technically call it a time fail because he ran out of time there, or because
no,
that was not going to be enough to finish off the base? Sikander with that 2-star, 77%. At least he comes up lucky with the 77. He can go try to hit a jackpot somewhere else later today, but it is not going to come up the way that he was hoping for in this match here and now. The Titans are down for the count, and that is going to be a clear path to victory for Selenho, attacking the last base that remains. That belongs to Ran.
All he needs to get is that single star. That's all you got to get there. But if he gets a triple, or even, let's say, 2-star, and that 1-star never happened, it was a 2 on his own, then the person who got the 1-star really doesn't have to feel too bad, because it wouldn't have it didn't make the difference, essentially, because everyone else didn't get their 3 stars that would be needed against Clash Champs. But it can play a role on a mindset of the players, because when you know that your teammate gets a 1-star and the war's pretty much out, you kind of are almost given up at that point, which can affect future attacks from your team. but we're seeing Seleno coming in now with the Super Barbarians. It is again with the Sarch using the double clones. It's either going to be Super Archers or the Super Minions, one of them. And with 5 invis, that Blimp's going across. Gonna wait to pop that Warden ability as late as possible. Oh, no, he's still waiting because the Sweeper pushed back, and boom. Brilliant, but he does find a Tornado Trap right now. This Sweeper is gonna be very annoying to try to push past.
Yeah, super difficult spot here. You just wish that there could have been a freeze or even 2 lightnings, but every single spell is going to count for Seleno now. Gets the invis off there, and we'll be able to protect the troops popping out of that Blimp as the Super Archer's going to get cloned up now, firing away on all cylinders and trying to get those long shots to take out some key targets. Gets a little bit of splash damage onto the multi-target Inferno, and as that long-range geometry is trying to get the angle just right, looks like the damage is not going to be coming in against the Town Hall just yet, but Seleno is still doing quite well with that early stab here. And, looks like the Super Archers actually are uncontested now in the center, not taking damage from any buildings at all. It's just going to be the CC troops that are causing them a little bit of difficulty now.
Remember, he doesn't have to take the Town Hall down. He just needs to get 50% at the moment, which he'll easily be able to do with his heroes as they will run their way across. There's the Electro Titan to the left side to help deal with the Lava Hound over there, while he sends the Queen, King, Super Barbarians to the top side to path his way eventually to that Town Hall.
46%, 47%, a few more buildings and that'll be it. 49! Come on, Seleno, 50! That one single star claimed from the attack will be enough to guarantee victory for the Clash Champs, as they are now in the money in this year's Clash of Clans World Championship. They are moving on to stage 4 and will be the first team today to claim that great spot. Congratulations to them and the ETX Titan squad that fought against them valiantly, but will still need another win somewhere else in this Swiss stage bracket before they can move on to join their foes. Moving in against the Town Hall, Carbon.
Yeah, as this Queen is making her way onto that Town Hall, continuing to push through with the ability, secures the Town Hall, and at the same time, the Royal Champs coming to the left, and he's not only trying to end with a 1-star, a 2-star, but he's looking to put a 3-star on the board. Looking fantastic, and Clash Champs finishing up with 13 stars.
Another confident finish here, the 13-star conclusion with a 98.2% average destruction for the Clash Champs. Extremely impressive follow-up now, as once again we've seen that is kind of the bar that you would expect to be set for a lot of super high-ranking teams, minimum of 13.